Magic? Magic. I get to take my mask off now. Everybody can take their mask off. I don't know. All right, so we're working with 2 bolsters today for our props. We have our 4 breaks. We have our chair, which we're going to start in our wide-angled seated pose. And we want to find our height, so you're going to bring us some more bricks. She wants 4 each. 4 each. But we can work on our height right now. So lengthen through your legs. Push through your heels. Stretch your toes towards the ceiling. Inhale your arms up. See if you can just find your height. Breathe. Big inhale. Exhale, lower. Press through your sit bones so you feel you're sitting as tall as you can through the spine. Inhale up. Exhale, lower. Inhale up. Left hand to the left side of you on the floor. Lean over to the left and try not to collapse. Try not to bend your left arm. Reach with the right hand and flip it up towards the ceiling, looking up towards the ceiling. Big inhale. And as you exhale, lower your right arm. Right hand to the floor. Inhale, left hand up. Reach, reach, reach. Don't bend that right arm. Keep it strong. Press through. And let's look up. Palm facing the ceiling. It's okay to look ridiculously happy here. And big inhale. Exhale, lower your left arm. Good. Let's inhale up. Grow. Lengthen. Lift the ribs away from your hips. Good. Lower the arms. And let's bring our hands to the chair, or elbows. So you can lean your weight into your elbows or your forearms. Good. Lean the chest towards the chair. Nice. And have a look at what your legs are doing. If the knees are bending, if your toes are rolling in or out, so you can get your toes pointing up to the ceiling. Press through your heels. Good. If you can go any further, you can move your chair a little bit further away from you. Maybe lowering the chin to your arms, or even making fists. Stacking one fist over the other, resting your chin. You could use a bolster or a brick. Make it comfortable, or even a blanket.
It's great to see.
It's the ribs.
Well, I just damaged my organ. Whichever one. I don't know. I've looked at books.
You know, what it is.
Which organ?
Linda, you want to put belt? It's just sacred belt and put it on. So this
I know. Some poses, you know, the ones we struggle the most with will help us the most.
Oh, it's pretty much.
So your struggle tells us how much help it can give you if you can struggle through it.
it feels good. It feels good.
We have to breathe. So when something's difficult for us, we usually hold our breath. So especially Linda, big inhale. Send the breath to those organs. In fact, push away. Use your stomach and your ribs and big inhale, stretching out that area, even as you contract forward.
So back is flat.
Your back is, yeah, you want to think of your back as a board, and you're hinging from your hips forward. So our chair is just here to limit how far forward we can go. Yes, the stillness. Susan is leading by example. You can find your space. That's okay. However you can support yourself and get through it, yeah. Now press through your heels, Linda, so that your toes, yes, flex back towards you. Good. Yeah. We're all breathing. Big inhale. Deeply long exhale, only if you're looking for more work in your hamstrings. Will you press your heels, your Achilles into the ground? Just As though the ground were made of foam, and we can imprint our heels into that foam.
She likes symbols, mirrors. Mirrors.
All over image. Yes. It's a playmate right now. Good. How are we doing? We're breathing, everyone?
I'll have to concentrate.
You know what I want you to work on, Linda? Is pressing down through your elbows and growing taller. So you're lengthening your spine up away from your hips in this position. So you don't collapse. Maybe that's where you're having more challenges, is you're collapsing as you're going forward, rounding instead of just straight back.
But putting on shoes.
Find your length. Inhale. Think about growing taller. Gently press down through your heels, push. And notice how that's changing the stretch. Now where do we have the most tightness? In the inside of the hamstring or the external, the outside? Inside. All right. Let's spread our toes wide. And now I want you to queen wave with your feet. Yes. Good. Back to just spreading the toes, flex feet. And with your toes spreading, see if you can press your big toes away from you. Do you feel that in the inner hamstring? Those big toes away. Keep spreading the toes though. It's not easy, I know. It's like patting your head and rubbing your stomach. All right, one more adjustment. Chair gets moved away maybe an inch.
You want to close it or find it out?
Further away, and you're going to see if you can.
What's that big thinking? Closer.
Closer would be nice, wouldn't it?
That's what I mean. She said,
It's our last minute, we can do it. And now look at your toes, see if they're rolling in, see if you can stretch them back up to the ceiling. Good. And our stretch should have deepened with that little adjustment, even though it's not much. And we're breathing. And we want to find the length through the spine again, so press through your sit bones, grow through the crown of your head. Lengthen.
Really feels good.
no, don't rush this one. How are you, lovely?
I think you're surviving this one.
No, it's one thing.
It only hurts when you laugh.
Well, it's short from here to here.
That's why I want you to find your length, even when you're folding
It's
forward.
called long legs.
I think so. This distraction helps.
Wasn't she doing?
Yes. I wonder how big she's gonna get.
Enormous, I'm terrified of this people this morning, when they start going over here. Of course not. She's going to be huge. Really, she'll be bigger than you. That's what I'm afraid of. Yeah, she's only about a quarter of the way there. If that.
Does she have any special food like Max?
Yeah. And she's eating, what I mean, a ton.
Oh, because she's growing.
She's crying for food all day long.
There are some cats that when they're not hungry anymore, they stop asking, but there's other cats that just don't know when to stop eating. I had a cat like that. He was always begging for food, never satisfied, always wanting more. And I couldn't leave food out for him. I had to manage his food. But the problem is he tried to bully the other cat and take the other cat's food. I had to feed them at different times and separate them. Just so the other one can eat in peace.
I would fed them exactly the same time every day. So they wouldn't come to bother me half an hour before. But if you feed them just any old time, it's not good.
No, well, she went through for all the time with her. She gallops back and forth the bowl. So maybe you find out if she has a parasite or something, just in case. Because I just never, she's more than I do, all right?
Oh, I believe it.
Well, I believe
Kittens
that she
do.
don't eat.
When they're growing, they're neat.
But she's only, she's in the room for another 8 more months, so I'll tell you what she's gonna be.
All right, I think, have we had enough of this or you want to stay on?
She won't be cute if she gets big.
People are gonna think she's not, she's just, it's too fur coats. That's all. And she needs her own hairdresser.
Yes.
Yeah, she does.
Well, we all need that.
So you should really, that's scary. Just a little.
You know, when I saw Max with his lion cut, I thought of doing it to my big orange cat that had a double fur coat like her. And the moment the clipper came out, he thought I was going to kill him. I only got like a little tuft of fur missing, and he took off. And ever since, if the clipper came out, he'd attack it like it was a live animal or something, a threat to him.
Yeah.
So I never did it again. I just
She's
said,
already cost off, anyway. But definitely she's getting a line cut, for sure she's gonna get it, truly. The breeder already wrote to me and said, you have your hands full, just so you know. I'm like, really? Yeah, she's gonna get the line cut.
I have a comb at home. It's for hairdressing, and it has a razor in it. And you can literally comb and cut at the same time. I wonder if that would work for her, because I'm not using it.
There's a whisperer, a cat whisperer, that comes and does it.
Oh, wow.
And they get it done in like 67 flat, they're champions, it's like they go lamb's wool or something.
Is it quiet, the clipper, so it doesn't frighten them, the sound?
It's electric, it's like, you know what, it's fast. And they're really good.
But you have to hold her.
You know, the cat whisperer does.
Oh,
That's amazing.
I have nothing to do with it. I might hold Max a little bit, but he was absolutely hooked out of taking it in. Because he was so crazy that they had to sedate him and then he was too old.
Yeah. If I even said that to Richard Parker, he would start to get neurotic. Like, he would hyperventilate on the way to the vets. He knew what the vet meant, he knew that word, and it was like a source of terror for him.
Do you have to brush her every day?
Okay, I'm sure. 3 times? Wow.
It's
All right, are we ready to come up? Find your length, so we're not collapsing, we're getting taller through the spine as we come up. You can push away the chair, and you can kind of shake your legs towards the chair, and then we want to place them inside. I have this here for her, just to give her something to do instead of the cords. Okay, so now we have to move the chair in, because we want to capture the ankles. And what we're going to do is take the backs of our ankles to the chair, and we're going to try to point our toes towards one another. So it's a pigeon-toed position. Yes. And now I want you to just gently press into the chair. So we're moving our legs towards the sidewalls. And now we want to find the same height we had before and see if we can lean forward. Linda, do you need a little side bend, a little lateral stretch? We can do it. Let's do it. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, and lean your left hand into the floor. Nice long left hand or left arm. And let's push away the ceiling for a moment. Flexed hand, palm towards the ceiling. See if you can push away the floor a little bit more with your left arm. Good, now reach over your head, reach.
So
Big
war
stretch.
cat.
And big inhale. As we exhale, let's lower the right hand. Right hand on the palm on the floor. Nice long right arm, and let's stretch up. Like you're holding up the ceiling, push that ceiling away. Ooh, good. Now don't forget about your legs. You're still pigeon-toed, you're still pushing away the chair. So lots going on. Now let's reach over. Reach. Good. Try not to bend the right elbow. Straight arm here, push away the ground. Big inhale. And as we exhale, lower the left arm. Good. One more time. Inhale the arms up and just reach for the chair. Good. Fine. Wait.
Get outside.
Yes. Yes, because you're pushing away the chair. You're creating that effort. Keep those toes pigeon-toed. You can try to flex your feet here. So push through your heels, lengthen your legs. Did she get you?
Tried. Don't try. You.
Now you can try to lean forward, but don't forget about the effort to push into the chair. So it's still moving those legs to the sides. That's good.
Come on, she's so gentle.
Get your yoga belt. Throw it over the chair, and then you can play with her risk-free.
It's the most cutest picture I've ever seen in my life. Both paws around the chair.
You can do so many studio pictures with her. She'll be the mascot of the studio.
Did you not see the newsletter?
She's a cutie.
She's just taking over She's oblivious, right? And happy as
Jessie,
smelly feet. No, fresh socks.
she obviously didn't mind the smell that much because she's now convalescing. So we're breathing and we're not collapsing. See if you can find more length, grow. Good, and then hold that length.
But I can't bend forward.
That's okay. Stay as tall as you can and lean as far forward as your hamstrings and your ribs allow. And that's where you are today, and that's okay. One more minute, we can do it. Make sure you're still finding that pressure, that you're pushing away the chair legs with the external part of your leg or ankle. See if we can pigeon-toe a little more, rolling those thighs a little more inwards. Good. You found it, Linda.
It's on the case today.
Yes.
She's super busy. Let's see, taking a cat.
It's good. Just think what's coming, banana asana. You can make it with it.
And that's what we call it.
Yeah.
No, we call it banana cider.
It has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? And it feels yummy. It's a good pose.
But what's it really called?
It is really called banana asana. I'm not sure I looked up the Sanskrit terms for banana asana and it gave me a variation of Sanskrit. So I wasn't quite sure which one's actually used in Sanskrit. But when I look it up, it always says banana asana.
Wonderful.
They give like a Canadian version of the name.
Name for book.
It's a good name.
Bananas.
It's easy to remember. And I like that it's a lateral stretch that keeps you honest. You're using gravity to keep the back straight. Because often when we do some kind of lateral pose, we'll lean forward or we'll lean back. So this is a way to kind of keep us honest. We're on our backs and we're trying to stay heavy on right and left sides. So you ready to come up? Let's sit up as straight as we can. Move our chair away from us. And clear our mat unless you need something underneath your head. And remember, we have space behind us so we can stretch our arms perhaps straight over our head. So you might want to check. And let's start by aligning ourselves with the right side of our mat. I'm going to check I have enough space. I just have enough space to stretch out my arms completely. So here we are, lying on just the right side of our mat. Now last week we moved the upper body first. What I want you to do is play around with the movements. We're going to move our legs first and then align the upper body. So let's start by moving the left leg over to the left side of the mat and then the right leg over.
This is banana.
Yeah, so we're just starting with the lower limbs this time. And now you can see if it's comfortable to cross the right leg over the left leg. And now we're going to start with the upper body. So using your elbows to push into the ground, lift up your head and shoulders and move yourself over to the left side of your mat from the right side. Now Linda, see how your hip is trying to lift off the ground?
Yeah.
Imagine that there is a sandbag.
On top.
Yes, on top of your right hip, drawing it down to the ground. And if you need to adjust your legs, you can come a little bit more over to the right until that stretch becomes comfortable. It's a tricky one. And now our arms are going to lift. So once you think you've got your upper body as far over to the left as it wants to go,
It was much more fun in bed.
and more comfortable, then you can inhale your arms all the way up. Now there's a variation with your arms. If your arms do not want to go straight above your head, and you can't grab hold of your right wrist, then what you can do is bend your elbows. You can even place your hands underneath your head, or you can hinge your elbows so that they're pointing up above your head, but the elbows are wide in a T. And if that's still too much for your shoulders, just try a T position for the arms. So see what works. You're going to get the most stretch through your ribs if you can lift the arms up over the head, straightening them as much as you can.
So if my legs are on the left, I stretch arms to left or to right.
Yep, upper body and the lower body are going in the same direction, so everything to the left.
Okay.
So you want to think of your body as being the shape of a banana or a smile.
Like a female banana, not a male one.
Yes, definitely. What Susan said.
That would be good on the team.
Now see how that hip wants to cheat, Linda? You've got to remind it to drop down. So we're trying to keep the right side of our body just as heavy as the left side, even though it wants to lift and roll away from the mat.
Okay.
And that's where the magic happens, and we have to kind of breathe into the magic. So where you're feeling the most challenge, the most stretch, breathe into that area. And look ridiculously happy doing it. And let's try to relax our features. Close your eyes here. Smooth out the eyelids. Relax the eyes themselves. Let go of tension in the forehead. Relax the scalp.
So now we're stretching right.
Yeah, the right hip, the right side of the intercostals. So all those muscles between your ribs. Even your lats on the right side, they're getting stretched. But definitely your QL, part of your QL gets stretched here. In fact, if it's really tight, that's one of the reasons why we probably roll off the floor a little. The IT band, we should feel those muscles on the outside of our hip. Make sure you're breathing. Let's take a big yoga breath, like you're filling a balloon. Stretch out your abdomen, expand the ribs and the chest. Equally long exhale, but we reverse the flow so the breath leaves the chest, then the ribs, relax the abdomen. Think of your breath wave. And as you inhale, the wave crests. Your stomach rises, then ribs. And as the crest falls, we reverse our flow. And the chest falls, and then the ribs, and last the belly. Now, if it doesn't bother your neck, you can look up towards your right elbow or beyond it. Try to keep both shoulders heavy. Notice the right side probably doesn't feel as heavy as the left. Encourage the heaviness, just like in your hip.
So where is right shoulder? On floor or?
We try to keep it on the floor. If you feel it lifting, put a little blanket, put something underneath so the weight of your body can sink down and get support.
Oh, now I'm totally confused. You stay how as you are, right? To get out to look at you.
You have it. Your shoulder was maybe lifting a little bit, but you could just put a little blanket, a corner of a blanket there. And you want to lean the weight of your shoulder down so that you're opening up. So imagine being in Shavasana instead of being in Banana Asana. It's that same kind of heaviness on both sides. The same kind of contact on both sides. Good. It's hard.
Yes.
It is, deceptively. I don't want to hold much longer. Let's give ourselves 5 big yoga breaths here. Remember to keep your head and shoulders heavy. And that right hip is probably resisting. Sink it down. Last inhale. Lower your arms as you exhale. Use your elbows to push away the ground and bring your head and your shoulders slowly back. So you're aligning yourself again with the right side of your mat. And then uncross your legs and walk those legs back. So we're in one straight line again, all on the right side of the mat. Now, we're done with this side, so we're going to move into the center part of our mat. And we're going to widen our legs and our arms to do one Shavasana to recover from what we just did. And notice how different the right side of your body feels right now from the left. Palms flipped up towards the ceiling. Heavy shoulders, heavy hips, heavy heels. Imagine Earth's gravity growing stronger, your body weight feeling heavier and heavier and pulled into the ground. Now find your yoga breath. Stretch out, exaggerate your inhale, and expand the ribs and the chest. Swallow, release the tension in your jaw and your teeth. Relax the muscles in the throat. Relax the roof of the mouth. Notice the discrepancy on the right and the left side of the body again. Notice if there's heat on one side, coolness on the other. Notice that there's increased sensation on one side than the other. Follow it from beginning to end. Let's bend our knees, feet to the mat, and let's lift ourselves over. So we're aligning ourselves with the left side of our mat now. And because we started with our legs on the right side, we're going to do that again on the left. Walk your legs first over to the right side of the mat, as far over as feels comfortable. And then see if it's possible to cross the left leg over the right, crossing our ankles. And now that we've got that, we're going to use our elbows, pick up the shoulders in our head, and start angling them over to the right side of our mat. So again, we're making that man shape. And now the arms. Inhale the arms up as high as feels comfortable. If you can stretch your arms straight, go for it. Grab hold of your left wrist. If you notice that's just going to pull the left shoulder off the ground, then I'd rather you bend your elbows, hinging them. Remember, you can place your hands directly underneath your head to support your head. And you can also take your arms in a T if that helps to keep your shoulders down. And if that becomes easy, hinge those elbows up just like a scarecrow shape. So pick what feels good for your body and stay there. Finding a heaviness to the left side now. Don't let that left hip lift, Linda.
Oh, feels.
And it's a big stretch, so if you need to adjust your upper body or your lower body, you have control over your asana. And a good indicator is your breath. If you're holding your breath is telling you you've put yourself in something impossible to breathe in. So unwind yourself a little. Take some of your C shape out and start to breathe again. Your breath is never lying to you. It'll always honestly tell you if you can go deeper or if you should ease off your pose. So listen to what it has to say. And notice how much that left hip wants to fight being heavy. So think about a sandbag being placed on your left hip bone and helping to weight down that side of your hip. And it might be your shoulder that's the struggle, so you may have to imagine a sandbag weighing down your left shoulder. And then try to picture yourself not in this lateral stretch, but just in Shavasana, and try to find equal heaviness on the right and the left side. To stretch out your ribs a little more. So as we take those big breaths, expanding our ribs, our chest, really notice how that's helping that lateral stretch on the left side. If it doesn't bother your neck, look up towards your left elbow. Shoulder. Oh. Is that the neck complaining? So we shouldn't hold this much longer. One more minute. And if you need to make it easier, Sol Vega, you can. Just take your legs a little bit closer to the left side of your mat, not as far over to the right, and give your hip a break. Remember, if you're holding your breath, you should probably make it easier. Try to relax your abdominal muscles here. They don't really have to be involved. Especially on the left side. I know, we're almost there. It's a deep stretch. It's very deceptive how much is going on. It really looks like we're just relaxing and convalescing here. All right, first the head and neck, back to your neutral position. And then let's lower the arms. And it's the upper body we're gonna adjust back over first. Your elbows, straighten out that upper body, and then let's uncross those legs. Let's move them back over to the left side. And once we're straight, let's align ourselves with the center of the mat and do our Shavasana again to recover. Nice wide legs, wide arms, palms flipped up to the ceiling, looking ridiculously happy. Relax the gums, allow your teeth to relax. Allow your tongue to feel heavy. Oh. Let go of tension down the bridge of the nose. Relax across the cheekbones. Relax the roof of the mouth. Come back to your breathing. Follow the ebb and flow of your breath. Underneath the eyes. Let go of tension between the eyes. Notice the heaviness of your body. Encourage that heaviness. Breaths, count them down. Be aware of the stretching of your abdomen, the rising of the ribs and the chest. Be equally aware of the contracting of the chest, the ribs and the abdomen. Big inhale, bending your knees, walking your heels back towards your glutes. And now let's roll over to our left. Use your right hand to push the weight around. Push yourself into a seated position. And we're gonna get into our hips just a little bit. Now Linda and Sylvia, you may want your chair behind you. That way, when we go into our pose, remember shin being parallel. Think of a hurdle or stretch. So if you had your left leg stretched out and your right leg in a hurdle position, all you're gonna do is bend your left knee and take your shin the width of your mat. Now for you guys, I think the chair is going to be beneficial because you'll be able to lean your weight back into the chair and push the right hip forward. For Susan and I think we can use a bolster and a brick.
We did last this time.
We used to also last time.
Yeah, but Linda, I don't know if
I used to bolster and the wall.
and the brick.
My and feet support.
Okay, so depending on what we need behind us, I like having a bolster behind me. And I'm gonna lean my weight back in my hands, straightening the arms. Good, and I'm gonna push the right hip forward. And if that is easy, and you don't need to hold that for a while to lengthen up the muscle, you could come to your elbows.
Lean down. Just kind of like funny books.
I think when the joints relax, gas is being released. Good, press that right hip forward. So we're feeling a lightness to the right sit bone, to the right glute as we press the right hip forward. You can think of tucking, just the right sit bone.
Way back and go that.
Make sure that your toe is in the same direction as your knee and shin. And if it's possible, you may be able to lean your weight back and grab a brick and support your head. So what we're looking for is support as we come back. Now that we're here, again, we want to focus on that right sit bone.
Well, we're not really here at all.
Now, Sylvia, I'm not going to hold this as long because this is a really big stretch for your front of your right
No,
hip.
that's good. I think so. Banana was college.
The banana one, huh? But Linda, you should like this because you're getting to stretch out the front of your rib cage.
My
as you
knee
lean back.
My knee doesn't like that.
Your knee doesn't like it. Let me have a look at you. So see how your foot's out to the side? You want to tuck it so it's in the same direction as your shin.
Well, you're greedy.
Well, what you can do is take your
Is that right? Like this?
you're gonna take your blankets and lift and elevate your knee. So that as you're in this pose, it's getting support and some lift until the flexibility is there.
Isn't that nice?
I would go even higher, just underneath the knee, so it's pointing upwards. See how it's on an incline for me? It's right off the ground. Go even higher. Fold this white one.
You want it folded more?
Yeah, and put it right underneath the kneecap itself.
I might as well just take a block.
But, well, as long as it's comfortable, it's going to be hard underneath your knee. A blanket is softer.
Well, you don't like the way my foot is.
Yes, I want your foot in line with your shin and your knee.
I don't think so.
It's a great stretch for the top of your foot.
Isn't that right?
Yeah, that looks right.
My foot.
You got it, Sylvia.
That's easy.
I would take another blanket and put it on top of the brick, make it more comfortable for your knee. You don't need that hard edge of your brick on you underneath you.
It's not hard. I've got lots of fat there.
All right, you're tough then.
Very tough.
Yes. And you want to surrender your weight. So as your shoulder blades sink more into your bolster, as your head sinks more into your supports, your elbows in this case, Linda.
I don't like this at all.
Now we need to think about the right hip because it's easy to cheat. So we want to tuck the right side.
Spirit.
We want to lift the weight.
Do something else.
Yeah.
Really?
It's all about
At
enjoying.
this time, we don't have to.
Yeah, but if the body said no, it's in
Yeah. But there's usually modification. I know your foot wants that, but your knee needs the lift too. So use your other big Mexican blanket. You can use one for your foot, but have your knee higher than your foot. That's what's gonna make you happy, your knee happy.
My knee higher than, I don't think there's a problem with that.
Good.
My knee is not going to go down.
That's why we want the blanket to come to your knee versus your knee coming down to the ground. Aha. Aha.
Are you happy now?
I actually am.
Good.
Very.
So let's not have any more complaining.
So Linda, I would push the chair a little bit further away so your elbows can come down to the bolster, and maybe your head can come to the chair. Well, I was thinking your head could lean back and rest on the back of the chair. I would put the chair back, because now that your elbows are there, your head could go back. Now let's think about the right hip again, because when we're distracted, it stops working. Tuck.
Oh,
Tuck the right sit bone. Get the weightlessness on the right side now that we didn't have in our banana asana. We wanted weight on both sides equally. Now we don't. Now we're lifting the right hip, we're tucking through the sit bone.
I think I'm just going to go back to this.
Yeah, do it.
Go back to which one?
Just this, but I can't do either.
Supta Baddha Konasana.
That's, no, Baddha Butterfly.
Baddha Konasana, you're right, because you're not reclining. But you might want to sit on a bolster behind you so that you're tilting your hips up.
Yeah, I think she should be front approach. She'll be so much happier.
Yeah.
Against the wall.
Yeah.
And then you've got the ropes, you lift your arms. Then she really will be ridiculously happy.
Yeah.
Just be here.
So how are we doing? 5 more breaths here?
Did you hear that? Repeat that. That's,
I'm happy just to be here.
Yes, I concur. Are we all tucking our right sit bone, ladies?
ooh, that's high.
And we should feel the work in the front of our front of our right hip and groin.
And then reach your arms up. Stretch.
Yes, grab the straps, stretch those ribs.
Drop your knees.
That's the hard part.
Yes. Nice.
Good girl. See, there's a pose for everyone in this room.
Yep, there it is. One last breath here. We did well on this side. And now when you're ready to come up, head lifts first, so we need to get weighted to our elbows. We're gonna push toward the floor with either the elbows or our hands, coming up here. Good. Stretch out the left
That was
leg.
surgery for you. Oh. Oh.
Actually, do you want Drunken Mermaid? You have to tell me, or else we'll just do the same stretch on the other side. If you want Drunken Mermaid, we can just lean over to the chair.
Do a little Drunken Mermaid if you don't mind.
Okay, it's a good one for the hip. Yeah, take you're gonna bend again so that your shin is parallel.
Yeah, thank you.
And what we want to do is have our chair on the left side of us at about our hip height.
Or holster.
Or a bolster, depending on, I'm going to suggest a Solega, don't go any deeper than the chair. Lean all your weight into your elbows so that your upper body is completely supported. And then lower your forehead to your head.
The legs.
And then I still want you to think about tucking. So think about tucking the right sit bone.
Down.
Think of lifting it. So it's like you're lifting the weight of the glutes up off the back. Pushing the right hip forward.
So forward.
Yeah. And you'll feel it all in the right hip, but it should feel good. Now make sure that your arms, your chest have support here. You're leaning right into the chair. Good.
I think it's a good thing.
It's a nice feeling, isn't it?
Something did wrong with it.
The chair is nice. It's not as deep. It's like, it keeps us more honest.
That's exactly
We can
it.
cheat more when we're lower.
Yeah. It's a good thing. I got it. It's a nice feeling, isn't it? Something did wrong with it.
The chair is nice. It's not as deep. It's like, it keeps us more honest. We can cheat more when we're lower. Lovely.
I'm working on getting my knees in.
Yeah, we're looking at.
Well, that's good because I'm tilting blocks.
And it's fortunate to lengthen. Jesus, again, lengthen those ribs.
Like a cheats more.
We're gonna go up here for a minute. So we're gonna find
Stretching the arm.
You can, yeah, you can reach the right arm forward. Whether you're on the floor using the bolster or using the chair, you can reach to the chair leg. Hold on to it and just lower your head. You're going to reach up for the chair, the back of the chair for one more stretch. And now think about your right hip and right sit bone. Just press them forward. So really just got 5 breaths left on the side. Last inhale. Lower the right arm. And you want to use your hands, your elbows to push through the chair, coming up here. Good. And we have to do the other side. So start just by stretching out the left leg and then the right leg. So it just looks like we're in Dandasana for a moment. And then switch your chair around just so it's on the right side for when we do Drunken Mermaid. And then let's start by bending. Look like you're in a hurdle stretch. Make sure that your toes are in line with your shin and your knee. And then our shin, our right shin, is within our mat. That's good. Make sure that you have your bolster behind you. And you're going to start just by leaning your weight back into your hands. Good. Inhale, lift that chest. Straight arms. And only if you feel like going further, lower the elbows. If not, you're going to stay there. Just getting used to the stretch. Good. You can do it.
We still have. We're lucky. You are being I've got a cat barricade around you.
She's going to keep you there. And if you want to go deeper, you can.
Butterfly, bring your feet together, butterfly.
Yes, that's a good one for you.
Thank you.
So remember, yes, left knee's in that hurdle if you can. Just, I don't know, is it bothering your knee so bad?
No, just this one doesn't bend. It's supposed to bend. She's not.
Try to keep your toes in line with the knee. So tuck them in a little. It's a good stretch from the front of our foot, our ankle.
Oh, you be careful there, though.
Yeah, go down slow.
Okay.
Good,
Once I
good,
get
good.
this, then I'm okay, just.
Now that you've got weight into your elbows, you can press the left sit bone or the
It is.
Yes, good. Nice. And we want to try to breathe here. We're not holding our breaths.
Oh, what the relief.
So now there's this big stretch to the front of our left hip and hip flexor.
Oh, yeah.
Psoas. And the more you're pressing the left hip forward, lifting the weight away from the left sit bone, the deeper that stretch becomes, the more it starts to go down the thigh into the quadricep muscle. You might even feel it right to the kneecap. surrendering our weight into our props. We have to trust them here that they can support us. And what you may notice is after some time, you may even be able to take your head a little lower. Just make sure everything's heavy in the body. And then that left hip will try not to do the work, so we have to remind the left sit bone to tuck.
Make a circle around the vein and breathe in.
Yes. You want to send breath to that area. And remember, all these heightened sensations we're feeling, that's a connection our mind and body can make to increased circulation, increased oxygen being sent to those areas. So our left glute should feel like it's just hovering its weight off the ground. It shouldn't feel heavy like the right side now. Breathe, stretching out your belly, expanding the ribs, expanding the chest. Last minute here. And then we'll do our Drunken Mermaid. So you can close your eyes here, surrender, relax. And then you can reach your arms up 1 more inch now. Yes, just like the rat. You're growing longer.
That is the problem, I have shrunk.
Well, hey, all this stretching up is helping, right? You did manage to get another inch there.
I mean, at my age, what is the point of going bone density test?
Oh, they're important.
Only to tell you that you're shorter, which is totally depressing.
No, you need your bone density because in a fall, the denser your bones are, the less chance they have of breaking. And you can increase your bone density just by weight bearing. So the more you do, the stronger your muscles are, the stronger your bones are. That's why I like the idea, so that you're working out. You probably need
Oh, yeah.
build the strength in the bone again.
And the simplest things, so.
Are difficult, yeah. It's funny what we take for granted until we don't have it.
The balance of this or sitting on the ball, just lifting legs up.
Oh yeah. Last breath here. Make it a big one. Now coming up as always with our head first, and then we want to get weight into our elbows, into our hands so that we can push ourselves forward.
Look at that, it's not even good for you. Big crack.
That was my elbow. It happens. At least it was my back. Now we have our chair to our right. Line it up with your hips so we can lean back, taking our elbows to the chair. Yes. And notice the weight is off the left glute and sit bone now. And we want to push it forward. So push your left hip forward and see if you can lower your forehead or your chin to your forearms. And it's funny how different this side feels.
Really bad trades. Where's the move at? Whoa,
She took her off, did she?
she left. I don't know where she went. I'm watching her.
She's rolling
Oh, what a relief.
You got it. Now I bet you can take your chair back a little bit further behind you so that you can twist more.
Good. Jesus, everything is
Yep, slide it, as it gets easier, slide it back back away from you a little bit, so you have to twist more.
And move it closer to the wall behind you.
Yeah, you can move it over and so just slide it towards the wall. And we want to try to get our weight onto our.
And for someone that can't do it, she's not allowed to give instructions. No.
It wasn't.
That was a good instruction though. That was a good cue.
Wasn't good for me.
Now, if you want to go deeper, remember that left arm, you can reach it to grab hold of the back of the chair, or to grab hold of the arm, or the back seat. I like grabbing the back of the chair. It's a nice stretch.
Oh, yeah.
And now the hip. Left hip, push it forward. Tuck the left hip bone. And notice how nice that feels.
Oh, that was really.
And remember, these are things you can do at home. We've all got a chair. I'm sure we've got a yoga mat at home. And if you don't have a bolster, use a footstool.
Fire bench.
Yeah, there you go. There's always a way. A big cushion from the sofa. Now notice what's going on the left side of your body, where your body's surrendering and where it's still fighting. And where it's fighting, ask that area to relax and breathe into that area.
Well, as forever, my feet were problem. Tops, sides. They were.
It looks like softer for the sides of your feet.
Yeah.
That's 5 breaths. Let's tuck. Don't forget about that left hip. It's funny how that left hip will lay off and stop doing the work if I'm not thinking about it. Last inhale. Start by just lowering your left arm. And use your left hand to push away the chair so you can come up here. So we're untwisting. Now you get to come out the neck. Good job. Now, I have our chair here. And I thought we could finish with a nice little back bend, almost like a restorative shoulder stand without lifting the legs. So the way we're going to do this is like instant Maui last week when we had our legs kicked up on the chair. Or not last week, last month.
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. this one?
I don't know. Yeah, that's okay. So, Vega,
That's nice.
It's up to you guys. If you want this one where the hips are elevated, the weight's in your shoulders,
okay.
or if you want 3, 2, 1. This might feel nice on your hips after everything we did though.
Okay.
It's up to you guys. I'm willing to do 3, 2, 1. If you want, I'll save it for the next time we get together. The 3, 2, 1, and we'll have all 6 bolsters. And then we're so it's that full back bend that Sylvia loves.
Oh, she wants the quarter back.
She wants that whole back bend where the hips, everything, the pelvis is up in the air.
Yes.
Oh, gee.
This is a start. This is easier to get into.
Can you make me want to push it back?
So think about just starting with your legs kicked up on the chair, your back flat. And then you're going to push away the chair with your legs to lift the hips. And you're going to slide this bolster underneath the sacrum. And we want to adjust our shoulder blades. So I want you to walk your shoulder blades down your back towards one another. And then once they're as close together as you think you can get them, just sink them into the floor. Stretch out the arms. Palms flipped up towards the ceiling. Am I there?
No, something's not right.
What's not right?
I guess the chair's too far away. I'll pull it.
Yeah, you want to make sure that right where your knee meets the thigh, that your seat is there supporting you.
Am I right now?
Yeah, I think that looks good.
What am I supposed to do with my arms?
Your arms, well, first start with your shoulder blades. You're going to walk them down your back towards the chair and towards one another. Get them as close together as you can. And then sink your shoulder blades flat into the floor. Stretch out your arms just by your sides comfortably. Palms flipped up to the ceiling. And you should feel lots of weight into your shoulder blades. And this is the benefit of being in shoulder stand without the wrist. So you get that nice feeling of weight into the upper thoracic back. Without the wrist and the neck. Anything else. Isn't that a nice feeling? All that weight into the back of your head and shoulder blades, your shoulders.
I guess it's quite comfortable,
Good.
but I don't want to put my hands on the cold floor.
Oh, well, use your blankets.
Okay.
See, there's always a way around. Or use a brick. Place a brick there so that your hand can rest on the brick.
There we are. That's better. The bricks are closer.
There, no one's subjected to the cold floor. You know, we could lay a Mexican blanket down on top of our mats to do a lot of the work we're doing. It's not like we have to grip and hold on and just worry about slipping.
It's true. It's true.
Close your eyes here. Relax the space between and behind the eyebrows. Now, Sylvia,
I feel like I'm almost.
and your bolsters underneath your sacrum so that you're lifting it.
It is.
Good. And now you want to adjust your shoulder blades, Sylvia. So walk them in and down.
She's got the cord around underneath as well.
Okay, good. Oh, I see what she did.
Oh, perfect.
Hey, we've all got our own little system of what works for us. It's good. Allow your body to feel heavy. We need to trust our props, that we can surrender our body weight now and relax. corner of both ears.
Last time I did this in the hall, Max was sitting with me.
Aww. Where's Luna? Is that how she sounds when she's crying somewhere?
No, she sounds like
Listen, he had fabulous life. He was fabulous, lived alone. He was king of the studio, and now it's his incarnation.
I know, he's probably coming back as some yogi in India.
Yeah.
He'll be the next guru because he sat and listened to everything for year after year.
And he is.
Plus, cats already know how to stretch, so you can imagine the insight he's had from living as a cat.
Is he what? He's Slovenia?
Like he is now coaching Luna.
Yeah. For sure. She's got a guiding light.
She really does.
But my goodness, she will be humongous. In 2 weeks, she's so grown.
I know she's tough.
Can't believe it.
It was scaring me. What could I do?
She's healthy, that's what it is.
She's fit as a fiddle.
Oh, this feels so good.
It's a great release for upper back, and unfortunately, if we sit more, and I think most people have, our upper body.
So maybe do you want to take the quarter round tomorrow?
Do I what?
A quarter round block.
Oh, I don't have. Remember, you gave me one and I brought back after.
And as I said, do you want to take one home?
Can I take one?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Already a partner. Never.
Don't forget to do little foot exercises with your quarter round.
And it's really, in this pose, it really leaves a lasting impression on the upper thoracic spine to really lift that arm and chest.
Yeah. Linda, this should help you.
Where?
Your ribs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I've got a bolster, I've got a chair.
Yeah, you can do this at home.
I have 2 blocks for my hands.
And the great benefit to doing stuff like this is lower blood pressure for the next 24 hours. So you can do it for 15 minutes. You're getting other therapeutic values, not just the stretch.
I think I probably have to do it for about 2 hours. Have to take my blood pressure 3 times a day.
What? Why? Because it's high?
Yes.
Then you should be elevating your legs. As long as your blood pressure is regulated with medication, it's safe to elevate your legs and encourage the blood flow in the other direction. And if you can do it for 15 to 20 minutes a day, it's therapeutically supposed to lower your blood pressure for the next 24 hours. So I would do it daily alongside your medication. And that includes legs up the wall, instant Maui, this pose, anything where you're getting your legs higher than your heart line.
Okay. And my blood pressure since Jerry died is perfect. No more stress.
I understand.
Your blood pressure.
Having a partner, you definitely lock heads sometimes.
122, 189.
That's not good.
That's very good.
That's too, the second number is too high.
89.
Yeah. Really?
I think it depends on your age. It changes with your
He
age.
said it's very good.
I think I'm 101/60. I'm pretty low. I've always had low blood pressure.
You're 1-1?
101/60.
Oh my God, you're hardly
That's not
alive.
normal.
I know, I used to faint And my doctor said other than fainting, there's no downside to having low blood pressure.
I think they like it now, the first number to be 120.
Only if I'm exercising or walking briskly, and then it lowers really quickly when I sit down.
Well,
That's why a lot of people that have postural low blood pressure, it's when you get up quickly that you'll faint or something. You just have to move a little bit slower and mindfully.
well, it used to be that you could have that first number be 140 and they wouldn't yell at you. Then they lowered it to 130 and now they lowered it again to 120. Well, I just can't keep up with those kinds of changes. I have serious meds, so.
Well, as long as it's managed, elevating legs should be fine. The only
Yes.
time they contradict that is if your blood pressure, you're being medicated and it's unmanaged. Then they say not to elevate your legs higher than your heart. But as long as it's managed, you can do it.
Well, I write it down and then I put it on Excel and send it to the guy.
You could get one of those Fitbit watches that tells you everything. And it
Well, I
probably
had
sends-
one, but it was too deep for me. I couldn't even get it off and on my wrist.
Really? Because those are supposed to be able to send data to your doctor.
Well, I don't want to invest in any more of these toys.
I think even the Apple Watch does that. All right, see if you can relax your eyes completely.
Just put my feet up the wall. That's what I'll do, 20 minutes.
You can do that. And if you have a break, you can always lift your hips and add a break, and then take it away after 5 minutes. So Meg, I've been thinking about you because I've been doing the ancient secret of the fountain of youth yoga in my own practice at home. She had me read this book. I love it, and I still do the yoga from it.
I used to do those 5 exercises for 15, 20 years.
I love it.
21 time turning around, whirling,
Yeah, the whirling, that makes me dizzy.
and everything else. And I would have, now I don't think so.
Well, remember, it says to start with 3, and you can work yourself up as you need.
Going around, that's, you can do it. You just have to focus in one spot. and
Yes, you have to
whirl.
spot yourself or you get really dizzy.
Okay, how are we doing here?
We're doing good. Let's take away the elevation for the hips, so we finish with just our legs elevated in Shavasana. So lift those hips and pull out your bolster, and let's lower down nice and slow, and we'll finish our Shavasana here.
Don't we have to get so up?
Well, it is good to straighten out your spine. There's still a benefit in finishing in Shavasana, even if it's for a couple minutes.
If you say so.
Trust me, you're gonna feel all these sensations, all this sense of warmth and
It's a big job to get everything out.
you did it. There. Relax the soles of the feet and relax the tips of the toes and allow your legs to feel completely heavy. And notice how nice this feels. Notice how light your physical body feels. eyes are relaxed. You feel roll upwards into the head now. And remember, we don't need, we can, in our mind's eyes, we gaze up, release. So think about what you're holding on to that's not serving you, and release it now. Last 2 minutes here, ladies. I'm going to give you my favorite mantra because it's only going to get released on this video. It's by Jack Kornfield. And if it resonates with you, adopt it as your own mantra. Say it as often as you need to. May my heart be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. I'm going to repeat those words and notice how they make you feel. May my heart be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. Gaze upwards. Pick an object above you, something your eyes can easily trace around, and move your eyes in one direction around that shape. And then just reverse the direction you're tracing. Now trace your thumb softly over each fingertip, back and forth. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your fingers. And now roll your ankles in one direction. And then let's go the other way. And now the wrists. Let's lift our hands off the ground and roll our wrists in one direction. And now let's go the other way. And each knee, we're going to pull one in towards our chest at a time. Let's hold on to our knees or shins with our hands. And rock. Rock right and left. Massage up your back. Look in the direction you're rocking in. Good. And when you're ready, you get to choose which side you're going to finish on. I encourage you to roll to the left. Stay relaxed, right brain, creative. But you can roll right, it won't stop you. Great job. Namaste. Do you want to own a namaste? Let's do it. Okay. So lay there. You and I, together. Elbows in, touch the ribs, open up the heart and the chest. Close your eyes so you don't feel self-conscious. Exhale at all your breath. Big inhale. Release your fingertips. Softly open the eyes. Inhale your hands right up overhead. And in gratitude as we lower into Namaste, bow and thank yourself for your work today. Namaste.
Namaste, namaste, Simone, namaste.
So lovely.
Susan, namaste. Linda, namaste.